we took this trip a few years ago to India. Not many people know a little bit of background on this, but in the diamond industry, Mumbai, India is kind of ground zero. That's where most of the diamonds are cut because they have the best technology and they have the lowest labor costs. So it's kind of a good fit. So one of my suppliers had invited us over for a 25th anniversary celebration they were having, and we thought, well, this is a great opportunity to go to India and go a little early. Their celebration was just a dinner, so we went for that, but we went for about 10 days before that as well. We also thought that this would be a good chance to fly an A380 airplane as well, because none of the U.S. carriers fly that airplane. It's the one that's the double-decker, and we thought that would be a cool experience. We always fly Delta. We're so spoiled having them here in Detroit. And so we flew Emirates, and we were obviously connecting through Dubai, and thus we spent half a day in Dubai, which was enough, but it was a nice, good, it was give us a good feel for it and everything. So, oh, certainly. Got it. Okay. So as a little backup, like I said, or a background, I should say, most times when we travel, we do our own thing. We don't normally do group tours or guided tours or anything like that. But India's a little different, and I wasn't terribly comfortable driving in India. So we took a private car, and what we did is, I went on TripAdvisor, as I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and we found the top-rated one for guided tours, and there was, we had a private car. It was just the two of us. We had a private driver for the whole 6 days in India for the whopping price of $350. Now, they did gouge us a little bit because each time we went to a city, we had to have a tour guide that specialized in that city, and that was an extra $10. But it's nice when you go because everything in India is so inexpensive. We stayed in one of the nicest hotels. I think we paid $150. It's always one of the top 10 hotels in the world. It was not an expensive trip once you got there. So I will get started here. This is the Emirates 380. It was kind of cool to fly this. This was our one and only time for flying this. This big a plane. The seats they give you we have the lay flat beds, the mahogany inlay and everything. It's kind of cool because at night when they dim the lights, you have stars on the cabin roof. So that was kind of cool. They have a little bar in the upper class as well too. So you can go if you get bored, you can go down. You can kind of sit in the bar area and sip a nice drink too. This map, as you can tell, the country we're over, we know that we're not on a U.S. airline. There is no U.S. airlines that's going to fly over Orion airspace. So this is the highlight for us in Dubai. This is the Burj Khalifa. This is the tallest building in the world by a good bit. It is almost, I think, 60% taller than the Empire State Building. So I want to say it's 145 floors if memory serves. There is a restaurant on the, Giorgio Armani has a restaurant on the 125th floor. So we thought that would be a cool place to eat. So this is the view from up in the Burj Khalifa on the 125th floor. And they have back here they have fountains down there and everything as well. The same people that did their water features are the same company that did the Bellagio. So another view of the Burj Khalifa looking up. And this is us, just out there. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of a hazy day, so we didn't have the best view, but it was still kind of cool to look down. And things were a little small. Okay, now this is us in India. This is the Leela Palace Hotel. This is always rated in one of the top 10 hotels. It was gorgeous. Same thing, like I said, we paid I think $150 a night to stay here. So it was just a really nice place. Start getting my notes here. Okay, this is all going to start in, sorry, this is still the hotel. This is outside the hotel in their garden. Okay, now this is in Delhi, India. This is where we started out. This is the first location. Is just an old Sunni mosque. India has a little bit of Muslim. They're primarily Hindu, but they don't. This was the first thing that we saw. One of the downsides of this is I am wearing long pants, and this is in July. Now, India has the same humidity that we have here in the summertime, but the temperature that day was 116. So it was a little warm. But in India, the men wear long pants. It's frowned upon to wear shorts, so I wear long pants, very begrudgingly. But like I said, these pictures are all of a Sunni mosque, and Trina has a sari on. They always want, in this particular one, in the Muslim one, they want, everybody, the ladies to be more traditionally covered. But it was, very pretty. Just different scenes in the mosque. And this was, I think, from around the 17th century is when this was first built. Unfortunately, India still has its poverty. They still have, this is just a small of their shanty towns, like any of you guys saw Slumdog Millionaire, where they have, the slum towns and everything. Unfortunately, those are still rampant in India. You'll see a big metropolis, and right in the middle of it, or right next to it, you'll see one of these, slum towns. Typical street. This was when we first got to Delhi. Always very busy. Like most places in Southeast Asia, motorbikes are the family car. You will see people, mom, dad, 3 or 4 kids, all on one motorbike. It's just very common. Okay, now the next destination we went to, this is Gandhi's tomb. Also, obviously, I'm sure most of you know who Mohandas Gandhi is. He was a leader of India for a long time. Still, by far, probably the most famous Indian figure. And they have his birthplace, and they have a big memorial there, which was just a really nice tribute to him. And a statue as well. I should mention, if anybody has any questions as I go through, do not be shy about raising your hand, or just ask it if you like, because if you're like me, I have trouble remembering it for a minute, let alone till the end of the presentation. So just feel free to ask. This is called, this is just the India Gate. It's kind of like an Arc de Triomphe type thing. It's just like a symbol right in the middle of Delhi. This is the Parliament building, the President's house, which is also very, they have a lot of really nice architecture. This is the entrance. This is called Humayun's tomb, which is one of the big major landmarks in Delhi. And this isn't the actual tomb, this is just kind of the gatehouse. This is the tomb. If it looks familiar to you, it should. The architect of the Taj Mahal took this as his model when they built the Taj Mahal. So it's very, very similar to that. Just steps into Humayun's tomb, and any of you have traveled to most places know that handicapped accessible is not something that is really exists in the Indian world. And that actually is the tomb where Humayun is. That's just another view. I just thought it was kind of a cool picture from that side. This is an Indian wedding. Indian weddings are quite the thing. They're 2 to 3 day affairs. This is a case of where the groom is actually coming in on a horse. They normally are processions of animals that come in. It's a colorful, it's a beautifully artistic thing to watch. So we got to see, every so often we would see one. This is actually in Agra. That's our next stop from Delhi as we went to Agra. And a lot of, just like here, people go to Las Vegas to get married or wherever. In India, everybody goes to Agra because they all want pictures by the Taj Mahal. This is back in Delhi. This is called Akshardham. This is a Hindu temple. It is an architectural marvel. I have a few pictures on here to kind of give you an idea of how fancy and the detail. It's just incredible. Yes?
Do you know when that was built?
Akshardham, this particular one? I do not. I want to say it was around the 16th or 17th century as well, but I do not know that, sorry.
No.
This is inside. It's just incredibly, every place you look, you see ornateness like I've never seen before.
Is that real gold?
No, it's just gold, it's gold laid over. But just like, if you look at all the details in the ceiling, it's like how how much time it must have taken them to do this. And these are actually not my photos. I actually had to download these photos because they strictly enforce no photos when you're in there.
Right.
I'm like, well, I need some photos of this because it was so cool. Yeah, this is still Akshar. This is just kind of an outer building. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is an entrance to something that I think you'll recognize in the next photo.
Oh, yes.
So that's actually the entrance. Unfortunately, we tried to take a few iconic photos, but as you can see in the back, there's a lot of scaffolding on the Taj Mahal. So they were cleaning it, doing some renovation. The nice thing is the Taj Mahal is the same on all four sides. So we could go to a different side and get a view without the scaffolding. And our guide was great because we got, I want to say it opened at like 7. This is the Princess Diana shot here. It opened at 7 a.m. And he said, we've got to get there when it opens up because the tour buses get there about, late morning, 10, 11 o'clock. And sure enough, we had 3 hours. We saw 5, 6 people here and there. We had the whole thing to ourselves. It was great. These are all going to be different detailed photos of the Taj Mahal. I'm sure most of you know Shah Jahan built the Taj as a tomb for his wife. Unfortunately, when it was completed, or I'm not sure if he saw it completed or not, but he kind of went a little crazy because he decided he wanted to build a duplicate of it that was black right across the river. Well, the country at that time had no money, but he didn't really care. He wanted to build it anyway, so they ended up jailing him. And he spent the rest of his life in a prison cell overlooking the Taj. So just another view of the Taj Mahal. And this is one thing when I went, I thought, you see pictures of it and everything. It's just one of the things I think, well, I'm going to kind of be maybe underwhelmed when I see it. I wasn't. It's so big. It really is massive. And this is a view from the Taj looking out to the building at first. It was kind of like the entranceway to it.
Question?
Yeah.
Are those fountains in the middle there that haven't taken off?
They are not. It's a pool with some decor, but I do not believe they are fountains. And this is inside one of the buildings right to the side of the Taj, because there's like little buildings surrounding them. And there's a view from there, seeing that. The side with minimal scaffolding. Everybody dresses up the Indians when they go to the Taj. The saris, the saris are just gorgeous. They're all different, they're just full of color, they're just beautiful to look at. This is the Amber Fort. This is the fort that is right next to the Taj. It's literally walking distance. This is where Shah Jahan spent the remainder of his life in prison here. And just another really nice architectural building. And I'm not sure what the dating is on this one, but it's a very large area.
When you say fort, were there cannons and things of that nature?
They called it a fort. I don't know that I remember seeing any weaponry there. I don't remember that. But I'm sure that there probably was at one point. but same thing, you know, when we were there, that was one great thing about our guide. See, when we paid top price of $350, but he got us in, he knew, you know, where to take, you know, when to take us places, when it was least crowded, so it really worked out well.
Question.
Yeah.
If you went to the various cities, how far apart were they? Did the guide take you to those cities?
We drove. We drove from. Now I'm trying to remember. We drove from Delhi to Agra, and we drove from Agra to Jaipur. But then our final destination was Mumbai, and that was a flight, because that was a little bit longer.
But he drove you to all, the same driver drove you to all those places?
Yes, that is correct. Yes. And he was the one that basically...
6 days.
Yeah, no, it was about 7 or 8 days is what we spent. But here, on the left-hand side, if you can kind of see the river there, the left-hand side is where the Black Taj Mahal was supposed to be built, but then, you know, that never materialized. Just another view inside. And just a few different balconies. This is still kind of at the fort area too here. These are just some outlying buildings around the fort that were a little bit more decorative.
Are those mosaics?
They are, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and this now is oh no, again, this is the last one from the fort. Okay, and then this was just another street view, and you see these markets all over India and everything, the fruit stands and.
How did you handle food you're eating and
Well,
restrooms on these trips?
You know, our guide kind of knew where, you know, more westernized restrooms were. Of course, for me, it's not a problem. When you're a lady, it's a little different. So, so he was pretty good about saying, okay, you know, there's going to be a little ways before we get to a Western bathroom. So he was very good about that. We didn't really have any much food off of the street vendors unless he told us it was okay to eat. We did eat at some local Indian restaurants though, because we love Indian food, and we really had no problems. I think I had a little bit of a stomach issue one day for a couple hours, and that was it. So, but I will tell you, I had on another trip I had a lot of stomach issues, and as a tip, a friend of mine that does tours says, when you're going to a third world country, because you can never get away from the food completely, start taking a probiotic 3 or 4 days before you're going to go, and keep it up when you're there. He said you won't have any stomach issues. So I wish they would have told me that before, but it was a very good tip. So.
Do they recommend water as opposed to drinking just regular tap water?
Well, they do, but the bottled water there is, again, if you've seen Slumdog Millionaire, they could just be filling it up in the back, you know. You just and there's no way to get away from it because they cook with water and ice and everything else. So. Okay, this is now on the way from Agra. Yes?
Can you tell us what kind of stone the Taj Mahal is made out of?
Marble. It's all marble.
Oh, wow.
This is now on the way from Agra to Jaipur, and this is called Fatehpur Sikri, and it is it's kind of a Mughal city. This I think was built originally in the 15th century or 16th century. It's a little bit older. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's very architecturally stunning. A lot of nice buildings and everything. The problem is that they don't accept any tour guides from outside, so you have to use their tour guides, and it's not the most tourist-friendly place in the world. So I'm kind of glad I went there. I would not recommend anybody go there just because it's not the friendliest place. Again, 2 ladies that were nice enough to let us take their picture. And these are all just going to be buildings in this whole city. It's kind of like a walled city of just a few buildings, but it's just very well preserved. And then they have this is a mosque that they have there as well too. That was not built at the same time. That was built a little bit later. And this is just, again, just another a street that's kind of right off there. That's kind of where the locals live. A typical truck, a lot of the workers there, they decorate their trucks to the nine. And if any of you's traveled, personal space outside of the U.S. is a little different than what it is here. So, and in India, it's like, the buses or the trucks or whatever, people are just jammed in there. They're hanging off the sides. It's just wherever they can fit. Of course, as most of you know, cows are sacred in the Hindu religion, and there are cows everywhere. And if you're going across like an expressway and cows happen to walk across, everybody just waits. So there are many cow traffic jams there. Okay, this is called the Monkey Palace. And this is also on the way to Jaipur, and you'll see why it's called that in the next slide. They are everywhere, and the monkeys are like puppies. It's like they know people feed them, so they're going to get up there and they want food. So, for the most part, they're very docile and they're friendly and everything. It's just a little disconcerting to have a monkey crawling on your shoulders when you're not used to it.
A question?
Yeah.
Are you concerned about any diseases or rabies that they might have? Or
No, I mean, in fact, I had gotten a scratch from one of them, and one of the locals were like, "Oh, I got to take you to my doctor and get a tetanus shot and everything." And I'm thinking, I don't know, a tetanus shot in a third world country, I'd rather take my chances. And it was fine. So I don't really worry about that too much. But it's kind of very scenic. It's kind of built into the side of the mountain, but it's kind of been overrun, and like I said, the monkeys have just kind of taken it over. Just a peacock that happened to be at the Monkey Palace as well.
Beautiful.
And obviously Trina was much better with the monkey than I was. So. This is when our arrival in Jaipur. This is a local restaurant. We were the only Caucasians there, which I consider a good thing. That makes it a nice, authentic restaurant when there's nothing but Indians eating there. It was a local hotel that was just a block or two from where we were staying. It was a rooftop restaurant, and the food was just wonderful. I mean, we both had, in India there is no alcohol, so you don't drink. So we were there, but we each had an appetizer, we had an entree, and I think it was $10 or $12 or something. And it's just a very nice restaurant. We really enjoyed it.
I saw the Coke.
Yes.
In the background.
Yes, that's what you have. So it's kind of interesting because on the subject of a meal, we went to a celebration for this supplier of ours, and it was in a really fancy hotel in Mumbai, and they have all this, they had really nice entertainment and everything. Well, it's like 6, it started at 7 o'clock. Well, then it's like 10 o'clock, and we're sitting at these tables, and I go to Trina, it's like, aren't they going to bring the food? I'm starving. And then everybody starts getting up. And I'm thinking, are we on our own for dinner? Do they not provide food here? So we walk to the back, and all the food is in the back. And it's kind of, when you're in India, they're not sitting down and eating. They're eating, they have a plate in one hand, they have something to drink in the other hand. Now, how you're supposed to get the food to your mouth is a challenge. But it was, we finally ended up eating at like 10:30, but figuring out how to eat and how to hold everything was a challenge too. So, okay, this is the Jaipur gate. So this is at the kind of the entrance of the city. Just typical. There's a lot of you see a lot of camels pulling horses, or pulling carts, and just different animals doing things as opposed to motorized vehicles. Just another nice building in Jaipur. This is called the Amber Fort. It sits, as you can see, way up high on the mountain. It's very, very expansive. This was kind of the highlight of Jaipur. I don't remember what the age of it is, but I know it's rather old. A little bit better view of it. There's only 2 ways to get from down here to up there. One of them is walking, and the other is on the back of an elephant. So we chose the elephant. So I thought that was a kind of cool way to get up there. This is just, it's kind of like a Great Wall of China type thing, but it's a little bit smaller, just, you know, build up the hill around just as protection for the fort. All the elephants are all decked out and everything, you know, and all the colorful colors. This is just kind of on the way up. And you got to get a really good view, because as you go up and you're on the back of the elephant, you know, you're getting higher and higher, and you know, you're looking at the scenery down, which is very nice as well too. This is the entrance to the Amber Fort. Now when we go inside, very, very colorful. I mean, it's been restored preserved and restored very well.
Question. I see a couple in shorts. Is that okay in a place like this?
You know, I didn't wear them. I mean, people did wear them. I just knew that it was kind of frowned upon, so I chose not to do that, but they're not going to say anything or anything, so. Just, you know, just different, some pictures here of the details of the fort. But you'll see like here, like you'll see like a couple of the tourists will be in shorts, but you know, like all the Indians will always have long pants on.
Gives you an idea of the size when you see her.
Yes, and this is just another, you know, lady. This was a picture Trina took, was one of my favorites. You know, she's just out in, you know, in the field next to her, you know, in the sari, and I just think it's just a beautiful picture. And all different pictures of the Amber Fort here, just from different angles. It's very large, so it's hard to capture. The gardens were just beautiful. This was one of the only ones that you know, a lot of in the European palaces, they all have gardens. In India, you don't see that quite so much. It was kind of nice to see it here. View from inside the garden here. This is called, as you can guess, the Floating Palace. You can see it from outside, but it's not really open, so you can't really go in and see it or anything. Okay, so this is one of India's famous dessert, like their milkshake. It's called a sweet lassi. And like if you ever like tandoor and all the Indian restaurants, you can get a sweet lassi. It's like a yogurt drink, and then it's flavored like with chocolate or whatever else you want to do it. So I'm not a big fan of it, but Trina loved it. So that's our picture with the official drink of India. Okay. This is the city palace. This is right inside and in Jaipur. It's nice. I didn't find this nearly as ornate as a lot of the other ones. It was a little plainer. Still nice, but. And some of the rickshaws, or you know, which used to be common in India, you don't see anymore. But the ones that obviously that the royalty used and the people lived in the palaces were a little bit nicer. It's another gate for the palace. Okay, this is called Gaitur, and it's a cemetery. It's for the royalty of India, you know, Maharajas, people that have passed, that they consider more important, and they have these huge mausoleums for each one of them. And it was very pretty. And all the tombstones were all ornately carved. And each one of these, when you see one of the domes, each one of those is kind of a different tomb.
Who's buried there? Who gets to be buried there?
I'm not sure who makes that decision. They just said it was like, you know, nobody's buried there anymore. It sounded like it was they have not used that for a while. So. And this is a view from kind of the top of the tombs, kind of looking out back, so you can kind of see, how big some of them actually are. This is, like I said, something, you know, those hemp tattoos that they have there, and she let us take a picture of that because it was so ornate. Now this is our last destination, which is Mumbai. This is outside the Sofitel. We just thought that those guys looked great, and they let us they let us take pictures. And whenever you see the turban, those are usually the Sikhs. And Mumbai was kind of a big surprise for us because, you know, that's the city that Slumdog Millionaire was in, and we expected Mumbai to be the poor, rundown one, and it was the opposite. Mumbai was a thriving metropolis. I felt like I was in Chicago. Now they still have the slum cities and everything, but it's very modern. Like I said, we stayed in a Sofitel. They have all the modern hotels. Everybody was dressed in suits. I was just shocked with what Mumbai was.
Question.
Yeah.
Do they use the tuk-tuks there? You know, those little four-wheeled vehicles?
We didn't see too many of those. I think those have all been replaced by the motorbikes now. And if any of you have traveled in Asia, you know that there's no such thing as lanes.
Yeah.
In Southeast Asia. It's like, you know, everybody just kind of goes where they go, and, you know, everything is just, there's no traffic rules, everything is just kind of a suggestion. Everybody kind of goes where they want to go.
Mumbai is in the south.
Mumbai is, it was Bombay, it's been renamed to Mumbai. It's probably in about the middle of the country. It's on the west coast. Calcutta's on the east coast, it's kind of even with Calcutta, and then Mumbai is on the west coast.
Is
and
that
then,
a tech capital?
I'm sorry?
Do they have a lot of tech there, you know, technology there?
India has a lot of technology.
I thought Mumbai did especially.
Yeah, but in fact, that's one of the reasons that I went there, because, you know, it used to be, you know, Israel was always the center of the diamond world. They did all the cutting and everything in Tel Aviv. Well, what happened is that, you know, they sold all the technology to the Indians, so Mumbai had all the same technology, but they had 10% of the labor costs, so they kind of took that over. And it's the same thing we had, I think when we did our first website, we had a company from India develop it, and the cost was 10% of what it would have cost to have a US company do it.
Oh, wow.
So, but we really enjoyed our time there. I would say India is not the most tourist-friendly country. The people are, like, when we were away from the tourist areas, everything was good. But when we were in the tourist areas, I think the goal of them was to separate as much money as they can from the Westerners. And that got a little old. I mean, I'm glad that I went to India. I would tell people, go there, but be on a tour and listen to what they say. I am very glad I did not try to do India on my own or drive in a car. It would not have gone well. So, but we did greatly enjoy it.
Speaking of the cars, any particular type of car or country that provides their cars? Are there a lot of American cars there? I was trying to be free.
You know, I don't, you know what, I think there is I do not remember what type of cars were there. I usually notice that, but I don't remember. I'm sorry, because like I said, you see them every so often. Now, India being a former British thing, I think you probably see more British and more European ones there and everything. So, but that I don't remember. The other thing I will tell you, and I told you, and somebody told me this a while ago, and I will tell all you guys because it's one of the best travel tips I've ever gotten. There is a website. It is called thriftytraveler.com. You pay $99 a year for it. You can sign up for alerts, and what they do is they look for deals. And you can specify, I only want the deal out of Detroit, or I want it out of any North American airport. My days of flying coach are done. I cannot do that anymore, so I fly only business class. And to give you an idea, we are going to Paris in, I don't know, a few months, and we paid $1,800 round trip on Delta for business class.
Wow.
Because this alert was there, and you have to, and really, most of the time, if you get a round trip coach ticket, it's $1,500. If you go buy one originally in Detroit, it's $6,000 to $7,000. So I will tell you, we have already booked a few trips this year on this thrift, just using this Thrifty Traveler, and what they do is they send you a link to Google Flights, and they say, this is where you go. They'll tell you, you can use miles or you can use dollars. This is how you book it. You book it through the airline, not through them. They just give you the alerts. And it has saved us, I cannot even tell you how much money. But that is basically it. That's the end of the pictures. But if anybody has any questions on anything, please go ahead.
Do they still use the caste system in India?
They do. They say they don't, but they do. The caste system is alive and well, unfortunately. So.
Did you have to exchange money there, or were you able to use credit cards everywhere?
We were able to use credit cards most everywhere. I don't think we got, there's not many places we go anymore that we have to exchange money. Almost everybody takes credit cards, and I just take my phone and I use, Google Pay and just hit, and it works great.
In the parts as you were traveling through India, it didn't seem to me, I may not have noticed it well, but there were a lot of big trees or forested areas.
There is, India's a huge, it's like the U.S., so there's just a lot of differences.
Like, have different altitudes and different climates for different areas of the country.
There's a lot of different climate zones. When we were there was just one climate zone. It was hot and humid. It was really hot and humid. So it was nice. And their idea of air conditioning is not American air conditioning. So yes.
What time of year did you go?
We were there in July. So we were there in the middle of summer. We were there on the worst time. Yes.
You had said you found it when you were not in the more touristy, but more in the common, you found it better.
Yes, I found that when we were, the high pressure tactics and everything came from when you were in the tourist areas. I think they just overly target that. But when you're away from the tourist areas, it's just like anybody else. Everybody was friendly and nice, and the restaurant service was good. No issues